Well, hello. Today, I'm going to take my seat off here. But, like a dumbass, I used Loctite on the security screw. So I needed to take this top off here and cut the screw off and put a new one in. The reason I'm going to access the screw, put a new one in, I'm going to be putting a horn on the bike here. There was a horn on there, but it was half ripped off from riding, and I just took the whole thing off and I got this new one. Soundbomb V-Twin Horn Kit by SB Horns. Read a lot of good reviews on this thing, and it has a black cover on it, which is what I was looking for. It seems like a decent horn, so I'm gonna put this on. And meanwhile, I'll get this set up and put this off. So this was a seat lock ordered from Robert Becker Designs. It's a really nice setup. And it comes with a numbered key and all that. And you save that so in case you lose your key, you have that information to order another one. They also sell the lower part of the lock replacement in case you do something dumb like this, or I don't know, whatever else you would need it, but they have that there. And then I got a whole bag, because that's all I could find, of the factory Harley underside of the fender washer nut things that normally locks in there, but you do not want to put Loctite in there like I did, because then you'll be in this situation right here. So the first thing I'm going to do is take a carbide tip oscillator blade in my oscillator, and I'm going to cut this bolt right here. Hopefully, this may take a little while. It's actually that rubber burning there, it's not the metal, so I don't want to. Oh, look, it's already kind of out. It's hot. Ow. So rich. That's where all that smoke is coming from. Am I the only one that has a problem getting these damn blades out of the DeWalt oscillator? I don't know that these are carbide. I'm running low on the carbide, but I think they are. So I'm going to run through these, and if these burn out, I might have to get a pipe saw or something. I'm not putting the sawzall up there. That's too unstable. I can easily slip and cut through my seat. I have more control with the oscillator here. So let's try this again. I'm about halfway through there. blade's holding up. If I could rotate that a bit, I can get up higher. Okay. Alright, so I found a trick. I don't think all DeWalts do this because I have another one that doesn't do this. You take a flathead screwdriver and put it right through there. You can pry it open just enough to let the blade drop out. This part right here should be made of some type of molded metal, but it looks metal, but it's not. It's plastic. All right, let's try another bleed. This one's a Milwaukee carbide, and the teeth are just about done. I need to go blade shopping. Milwaukee carbide to the win. So as you see, this is marred up here from cutting the bolt off with the oscillator. So when I take the seat off, I'll clean that up a little bit and I'll get some touch-up paint on it. But the seat is fine. They have nice control using an oscillator. That's probably the best thing to use on there. I wouldn't use a grinder, because I feel that would catch and slip easily. Maybe not. I don't know. But that's what we got. There goes bottom off. Okay, we got the seat off. So I found a bunch of wire in my parts bin. So I took a section and cut it off of there. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drop this down, this seat bolt hole there. Okay, I can see it now. You're going to put it through the top part of there, because this is the part that's going to come through the fender that you have to line up the notch there. So we're going to put the wire through there, tie some type of half-ass knot that will hold. Just so it doesn't pull through. Alright, my wire came through. But the knot, you want to do something like that. I'm going to refish this back through. Okay. Now hold this end so it doesn't go through, or at least be aware of where it's at. Now I gotta redo this knot. This is fine. This is not really a knot. It's not a knot. Okay. Again, we're putting the short side facing up the wire. Put it on there. Tie a knot again. Half a knot. Make it tight. A little pretzel there. Okay. Now we are going to pull this up. Stuck in there forever. Ooh, there it is. Nice. This is what it should look like once you get it on there. Let's see, it's a little play in mine, I think, because I was trying to force it off when I put Loctite on it before. So that's my fault. That little knot should not be going past there. It does on the left side. This is what you get in the kit. You have the horn, you have a wire harness, some wire fittings, nut, bolt, screw, bracket, sticker that says Denali, some bolts, and that's your cover. Now the wire harness seems fairly simple. You have this orange and black that look like they connect to the bottom of the horn there. Okay. You got your fuse and your red and black terminals that connect to the battery. And then you have these two, yellow and blue. And if you look right here under the tank, this is where you will connect those. To which one yet, I do not know. But that bottom one looks like it has yellow on it. So we're going to try yellow on that, blue on the top there. You will need to take the ECM off to access the battery. Also, this screw after you get the ECM off. The ECM, press the snap back and just set that aside. I would not recommend taking the harness off, because doing that a bunch of times is going to damage your pins and screw things up. So for this bolt here, you need a T40 bit. Use a hand driver or screw gun impact driver. Just don't over torque it too bad. Just like that. Get that out. Take that, put it somewhere where it won't get lost. And now we have access to the battery. I took both bags off because I need to access the old horn wiring, which I am 99.9% sure that this is it. Because that was floating around in there, and that was one of the only aftermarket things on there. So I have to trace some wires going down through here behind the side cover. And I know this was the one that was tied into before, because these two wires right here are the ones that come out and were so neatly soldered right there. So I will be tying in with the new ones here and there to the left, the factory horn wires, and these I will remove and get these out. And I was correct. You take the time and trace wires and look around. This here was the old air horn that was tied in over here, down through there, and to the other side there. So I'm going to remove this, all the wiring, and then we'll go from there. On the actual horn, there's your negative, there's your positive. On the wire harness for the new horn, this is your negative, this is your positive. I'm going to use some dielectric grease on the fittings. A little bit on there. It'll help with waterproof. Keeps things from shorting out. Don't have to use that much. So we'll hook those up. And then we'll hook the new wires to the battery. And first we gotta get rid of the old wires. There's one. We're gonna take off the battery terminal. And then here is the other one from the old one. The new positive and negative are hooked up, and I have this setting right beside the battery. And then the other wires are fished through under this bracket, which go under the tank there, and will go to the unit, and yellow and blue will go to these guys right here. I used different connectors because the other ones got messed up. So I have these on there. They're clamped nice and secure on both sides there. So before we put this heat wrap on and shrink it, we're going to test everything since everything's all hooked up. And we'll see if the horn works. And then we'll seal everything up. Put the actual horn on the bracket here, put the cover and all that on. I'm going to test the horn now. Fuck you, HOA! That's awesome. It works. Thing I will do, I'll put the bracket on. And when that's finished and tightened, it should be about there. So when the cover goes on, which I imagine is close to the last step, I did not read the 3 different instruction manuals. So I'm guessing that's what that should end up with. And then you could put that sticker there if you want to. So we're using the bolt or the nut that came out of the kit there onto the factory bolt where the factory horn was. And we're using a 1/2 inch ratchet wrench to tighten this. It'll be a bit tight and move a lot because it has a vibration washer on it from the factory. I'm trying not to let the back top of the bracket hit the gas tank, but it is here and there. Okay. So when that's vibrating, as you can see, I'm not here, it's not hitting the tank. So that's good. I've moved the bracket, it makes more sense. There is an offset here that looks like where this would originally mount, that would bring that tighter to the engine. And then I should be able to line everything else up. And, I'm going to get this bar pretty parallel here. And then I'll tighten this one up. My wrench will cooperate. That looks better. Okay, so I'll take the original nut that I put for the mounting bracket, stick that back here, get this started. Okay. Now I should be able to hang it on this bracket right here. Like that. Okay, that makes sense. And then I can tighten that up in the back once I get this to where I want. And this extra slack in the line, I will pull up through the bracket behind the tank and tuck that down in here in front of the battery. So that'll be out of the way. Where I had the bracket originally mounted, I think I'm going to move it because I don't think that's right. So I'm going to take that nut right off where I have that 1/2-inch wrench, and I'm going to move it this over here and move it down. See if that works. A bit easier to take the bracket off and mount the horn on the bracket before you mount the bracket back on there. Learn as you go, know what I mean? Ow. There's that spacer for that bottom screw I was talking about. Okay, that's nice and tight there. Go over here. Probably be easier with a socket, but felt like using. Okay. Oh, great. Another thing I should have done beforehand. Nope. Nope. Son. Kept that screw in. Hopefully I can get this thing in there. Okay. Alright, get it right there. Okay. Set that there. There. Two little nuts that go in the back. And there are two Allen head bolts that go in the front. Put it in there. Make sure you get your greasy fingerprints all over your new product there. That's important. It also won't work right. Okay, that's that there. Yes. So on the front side, 3mm Allen wrench. Impact gun or a drill gun. Hold the other side, the nut with your hand back to mounting the horn inside of here. Try to do things the right way this time. I don't know why you didn't read the instructions. Could have saved you a lot of headaches. You know why? Because I'm a guy. I like to figure it out on my own. Don't need instructions. Have that nut bolt in loose. Again, that is for the back of your horn here, for that to hang on, and you tighten it after you get everything else. There is the spacer for the other screw. It's better fit in here. Oh my gosh. That there. That is almost lined up. Look at that. That's how it goes. That won't work. Need the Phillips. And this nut here is a 1/2 inch. Hang this back on there. I think I'm going to pull some of the slack out of that wire. This factory nut that was on the original horn. Get that started by hand there so we don't cross thread it. And that right there is where that flex head ratchet wrench helps. Because you're getting clearance by the tank there. Get it semi-tight. Not too tight, but tight enough that you can move the horn and get it lined up and looking good. That's pretty sharp looking. The horn that I had on there before, it was loud, not as loud as this, but it was a monstrosity. It had a big chrome horn here, and there used to be a same exact big chrome horn there. It was just obnoxious looking. I like this because it hides, looks better with the bike, I think. Okay, that's about it there. To fix or not to fix? Always fix.